Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be masculine vacillation. I've got a short email here from a woman, and she makes some observations of some things that she's noticed after following my work, and it actually helped her get a good idea of why her first marriage failed. So I have a quote that I wrote on this topic, and then we're going to go through her email. And the quote says, "It is incredibly unattractive to women when a man is incapable of making a decision, is unsure of himself, he dithers and hesitates, and does not understand how to be the leader in his relationship. Some men are natural-born leaders, and leadership comes easily and naturally for them. Men who are not good leaders can be taught to lead only if they are open to it and determined to become a better leader. However, men tend to be very egocentric. Therefore, asking for help or admitting that they are clueless is often unthinkable, but not preferable to seeking help or changing their approach, because this would mean admitting failure. When faced with admitting failure or a lack of ability, most men will choose to continue failing. This is why stopping and asking for help or directions is something most men will refuse to do at all costs, even though most women consider it to be common sense to do so." I'm sure there's a bunch of women out there going amen at that last statement. So let's go through her email. She says, "Hi Corey, I just read the video newsletter regarding a man who kept apologizing for his poor sexual performance, and I noticed your paragraph regarding how it is the man's job to take the problems the woman may perceive as big and make them small and manageable. Otherwise, the woman will feel the need to go into her masculine energy and eventually will not feel safe and secure in his leadership. This is 100% accurate. I am a woman, and I have been in this situation. I believe it to be the reason my marriage unraveled, although I did not realize it at the time. My ex-husband stayed in mostly feminine energy, and I always felt the relationship was off." I mean, when you think about it, when you look at the overall divorce rate, which is a little over 60% now by latest statistics that have come out, and how many people do you know, anybody watching this video, how many people do you actually know personally that have a great relationship where they're very happy, they're very in love, and they still have quite a bit of sex? What's interesting is that marriages that last, where women say they're happy, they tend to have sex about 11 times a month. Women who are unhappy and end up leaving or cheating only end up having sex 2 to 3 times a month. So you're basically talking, if you're still getting it on 2 to 3 times a week, your woman is going to be, because the complaint was not so much the quality of the sex, but the frequency of it. Because sex really is part of intimacy. And if you're only getting it on 2 or 3 times a month, that ain't a good sign. But if you have a healthy, happy relationship, the ones that last, the sex is happening 2 to 3 times a week. That's what the statistics are. Just a little tidbit of information. I saw an interview with a guy who's a psychologist. He analyzed 400, or he did a survey with 400 women that were in marriages, and that's what he found. I thought that was pretty fascinating. So the bottom line is that when you look at overall, it's like how many people, how many couples do you know or have you ever encountered in your life where they've been together a long time and they're really happy and their sex life is great, and it's just like they just can't get enough of each other. They always want to be together. I can count them personally on one hand, even though this is what I do for a living, that I've met personally in my life and talked to. I mean, that's the exception to the rule. So for most of us, most of the people watching this video, thinking that you're going to meet one person and have a magical, perfect relationship forever and ever for the rest of your life, that's just simply not realistic. That's not in the cards. And when you look at it statistically speaking, it's just unrealistic for people to try to be together their whole entire lives, even though society and religion pounds it into our head that we got to find one person and do whatever you can to hold on, no matter how bad it sucks, and just kind of gut it out for your whole life. And so you can say, yeah, I was with the same person my whole life. It was like, oh yeah, when was the last time you guys had sex? Oh, probably 20 years ago. Is that really fun? Is that really why you got into the relationship in the first place? I mean, hell, you can look at most people in Hollywood. What does the average marriage last? 5 years? A good one? 7 years? The one, oh, they're like really a great couple. And like they've been together 7 years. And then 6 months later, oh, they're getting a divorce. I mean, think about it. Think about all the people you know in your own personal life. How many friends and family members do you know that have been married and divorced? How many of them do you know that have been married and divorced several times? So there's not really a lot of great relationships that we can emulate. Not only that people that we know in the world, but people that are close to us in our life. And so what do you see on TV all the time? This feminization of men that you see on TV versus the kind of stuff you used to see in movies 30, 40, 50 years ago. I mean, today, boys that are growing up, what chance do they have? They grow up and they see the same bullshit on every single television show and just about every single movie that they watch. Men are constantly being portrayed as inept, incompetent, dishonest. They're always pulling some kind of bullshit. Then their wife or their girlfriend finds out about it. They cover it up with a lie, and then eventually the lie gets exposed. And then at the end of the show, the guy grovels and begs and pleads like a little fucking pussy. And she forgives him, and they live happily ever after, and they go upstairs and they start fucking each other's brains out. I mean, when you see that kind of crap over and over, and the women are always portrayed as being strong, the masculine, like the strong, silent type. The guys are always begging and pleading, acting like a bunch of fucking pussies. And when you see that thousands and thousands of times over and over and over and over again, you don't really have anybody in your world as you're growing up who's got a relationship that you really want to model and emulate. Is it any wonder why most men don't know how to act like men, don't know how to act like leaders, and why so many women are unhappy in their relationships, so many men and women? I mean, like I said, the divorce rate's over 60%. So something is definitely fucked up with that equation. And so the idea is you got to look at what are the causes? Why are things this way? I mean, what you see on TV is really more of a symptom than anything else. And so if you can employ a good strategy, a good technique, a good skill set, like the type that I talk about all the time in my videos, on my website articles, and in my book, then you can have the kind of relationships that you've always wanted, and they're going to last however long. The idea is to put you in control. So if you just want to have a bunch of great long-term relationships that maybe last 2 to 3 years, or maybe you want to settle down and have kids, or, I mean, you want to have kids with several different women. I mean, it's like you see relationships today where it's becoming commonplace, where you got one guy married to 2 women, or you got 2 guys married to 1 woman. I mean, it's like anything and everything pretty much goes. It's like, who's to say what's right or wrong? The idea is because what's right for you might not be appealing to the person next to you. So the idea is to live your truth and do what makes you happy. But back to this woman who emailed me. I mean, it's pretty obvious when you look around in society why men are so fucked up and they don't know how to lead. They don't know how to be men. And then women see this and they think, oh, I got to be harder. I got to act more like a man, basically. And then guys see that and the women that they date, and they get turned off because the women act too masculine. It's just totally messing up the gender roles. I mean, feminism originally had a really great intent, and it did a lot of good. But it's been taken way to the extremes, to the point where it's literally fucking people up and getting in the way of them actually having healthy, great, fun, fulfilling relationships. The idea is not about how long it lasts, but how long are you guys able to consistently meet each other's needs. And if it's not fun, and if you're not meeting each other's needs, or you simply don't want to meet each other's needs, you want to explore and do something else, then God bless you and go do it. Because when you really truly love somebody, love means that you want them to be happy, even if it means there was somebody else. A lot of people have a really difficult time with that concept. I mean, I've given my ex-wife dated, I think it was three of my friends. And a couple of them, I set her up with them. I want her to be happy. And I've several of my girlfriends over the years that I've dated, I've set up with other friends or given them dating advice. I have women that I dated over 10 years ago still call me when they have a problem or they want advice or they want my opinion on things. Because I love them and I care about them. I care about their happiness. I want them to be happy. I don't like to hear them suffering. I don't like to see them crying. I don't like to see them upset because they went out and dated some guy that was a dipshit and didn't know how to treat them. So she continues on that my question is, do men inherently know how to lead in masculine energy all the time? Well, they got to learn somewhere. And if they're not taught, then they're not open to it, because again, like I said in the quote, men tend to be very egocentric. So even when they have a problem, most guys, because admitting they have a problem means that you're admitting that you're a failure, basically. That's how men perceive it. It's like I know in my own life how many people I've encountered, and I tell them what I do, or even years ago when I was just doing the stuff to help myself, most of them weren't open to it. And I see the same thing with guys that email me. You know, if you got 10 friends, 10 guy friends that all have the same problems that you have, you're lucky if you get one of them to actually listen to you and implement those things. She says, do they either have it or they don't? It's like some guys are innately have it, and they're born with it. Maybe they're lucky enough to grow up in an environment where mom and dad are happy and they have a good, healthy relationship, so they learn the right way to be, and they can tune out all that bullshit dogma and programming from society and religion that's just fucking things up for people. I'm with a man now whom I believe to have masculine energy, yet there are moments when he slips into feminine energy occasionally. Well, men and women both have masculine and feminine energy. It's just the question is, which one is more dominant? And like I said, for guys, it's, you know, I see countless and countless emails over the years, and I hear the same thing from guys I coach. I hear the same thing from guys I do email coaching with, and you can even see it in the comments on YouTube videos. You can see it in the reviews of my book on Amazon. If the stuff that I teach, when guys, it's hard at first, it's counterintuitive, but the bottom line is it gives them great results, and it feels a lot easier to be this way than the way society has conditioned them to be. And so what I'm teaching is the natural way that men and women should interact. And someday, it would be a great thing if once my life has run its course, if you will, and my work has been done, that the kind of things that I teach and talk about every day, these are commonplace things that all men and women will know and understand, just like to the point where the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. Or, you know, the moon's white when it comes up at night and the sky's dark at night, and during the day it tends to be blue, unless of course it's gray and rainy out. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session. You can choose any of those options by going to my website, clicking the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking whichever option works best for you. And I will talk to you soon.